Let me share my screen. This is the high-level design we are going to do for chatbot. When the user comes, right, they're going to use a web application which has a chart. And then once the user enters what kind of questions or whatever it is, right, then it will contact the RASA server. RASA server takes the request. Does it require to go back to the backend machine learning to get the response, or it has a response, right? It decides, assuming that it has to go back to the RASA machine learning model to get a response. Then what it does is it calls the action server. Action server internally calls the FAST API, and they get FAST API is the app. Is what the FAST API provides is you can expose your machine learning model as a REST-based services. That's what the FAST API does, right? This is going to give back the response back, and then eventually user gets the response. This is very high-level picture. If you look here, there is a few things are going on, right? One is the web application. This will run independently. The RASA server run independently. Action server is a part of RASA. We just need to run as another process as a part of RASA, which runs on the different port. FAST API is another application, right? These are the at the high level, you can think of three independent applications are running, right? 4 processes are running. This is the very high level picture. This is what I want to envision going forward, right? As of now, we are just focused on RASA server, right? Developing intents, give the response and other things, hard-coded values, identifying what are the questions user can ask. Based on that, we can build the RASA model or a RASA server. RASA builds the model for us, right? That is only specific to conversations. What kind of question user asks, right? It identifies that way to go and all the stuff. But remaining stuff, once we finish this one, then we can build our action server, in the sense it is just actions as a part of RASA. We just run another process in the different port. That's it. There is nothing else, right? The next step is we already have a machine learning model, or we have a different model, whatever, right? We expose this machine learning model as a REST service. There's a FAST API. This we had to build it, and then chart based web app. In the Googling, we can Google and then we can grab it. Different technologies are available. Whichever is good for us to run, we can use it. That is not showstopper for us, right? This is very high level picture. This is what I'm thinking to implement as part of chatbot development. Now let's open the door for everybody to give the ideas and everything. Okay, go ahead. If anybody have any questions or any clarifications or any suggestions. You guys can hear me, right?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Yeah. Anybody has any questions or anything like that? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, hello everyone. I hope you hear me well.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, so what I want to ask is the last part you talked about FAST API, the machine learning model. Is it integrated in RASA, or do we have to make that one?
That is a different component, different application.
Oh, so isn't the models integrated in RASA themselves? We are going to build that.
Yes.
Okay, I have a second question about the data sets that we already have. I know that the data is not clean enough.
You
I
don't have to worry about that, okay? Because
okay.
don't use any data, okay?
Uh-huh.
Basically, let's see, where is chatbot development? So, you see this, Jason?
Yes.
Take these questions based on
Yes, yes.
based on the oh, okay, I think it is open. Okay, take this and then build the intents, right? That's our first goal, right?
Yes, I build the intents in the output NLU YML file right there. Go back to the discussion. I built that output NLU file, but the problem. Okay, first of all, the questions generated by Juan aren't for all the data. There is data where the questions aren't generated yet, and also that the data is not clean enough. Some questions are generated for a content that doesn't exist.
Don't worry about that. For
Okay.
now, just first step, right? We need to
Yes.
do baby steps, right? When we are building the stuff, right? This is our reference, right? We based on this, we build it. Then when we are testing, right, whatever is missing or anything like that, that is the time we can take away those things. For now, easy solution, right? He already prepared for us, right? Everything is I don't know, use a tool or whatever it is. He already done the work for us, right? Take this
Yes.
as reference. I'm not asking you to do 180, whatever the, I don't know how many, he has 1800 questions, right? We are not expecting. We can start something, right? 100 questions, right? Just to build it. We need to try it out end to end, right? Make sure that it is all working, right? Then we can think a bigger picture, like a copying 1800 questions or how we approach it, right? We just want to go with the baby steps. We don't want to like do like massively and all the stuff. First, we want to see that everybody is comfortable, right?
Okay.
Building those things, and then do simple, right? Even you can do like a 20 questions, or might be 10 questions or 5 questions, right? We want to start like a people get familiarity with doing one, right? One intent. Once they do, right, doing 100 questions, right, it will be easy. Now I want everybody to get familiarity. We are just initial stage, right? We are still collecting the data and other things. Parallelly, we want to get involved and then start doing the work. That is our intention, right?
Okay.
Make
I
sense?
want to ask you, can you later please check the file, because I'm not familiar with all this yet. So check that file for me and tell me if there is any mistakes in the NLU file that I made. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Vichai.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody has any questions?
So here there are some questions for each of the subheading and each of the content. So while making it into the RASA, do we have to make intents, different intents, and the questions, some of the questions for each of the intent?
See, it is up to us, right? We just want to see RASA provide you a lot of features, okay? If we want to utilize all the things, right, it will take a long time because there is a forms and other things, right? First step will be we want to make sure that simple questions we can answer it, right? That is our first goal. If we can fulfill that, then we can go complicated. We can pick few complicated questions, right? We can pick few complicated and then we can enhance the stuff. First step is we want to make sure that simple questions we can have picked like a 20 questions, right? Or 30 questions. If we can solve that problem, right, then we can add 30 more questions. We can add another 100 questions, right? We want to build the basic end-to-end communication so that we can add as many questions we want. There is not at all a problem. That is not going to take much time, right? Might be take like a few days of a time, and then we can keep enhancing. Our first goal is we want to make it like a people get familiarity and then decide, right? It is not a generic way we can answer. First step will be write one intent, pick a few questions, 10 questions, or might be you can club, like if it is relevant to same thing, can club together. For example, Canada, right? It is Canada. We don't have to put as a entity, right? Something we want to have a conversation, right? If a chatbot need to understand, we can put entity. For now, we don't want to do entity. You can add 20 or 30 questions in one intent and then make it work, right? Just to give some response if it is that is working. Then what next step will be, we want to integrate with Fast API. Okay, Fast API is another component. I will work with Julian, and then I will make it as a one service, and then anybody can run it locally, and then so that they can integrate and then test it out themselves, right? One service end to end. And then one more thing is important is if somebody can take a web app as a component, if they can do it, that is also, it is not showstopper. As a part of testing, we can use a Rasa cell to test it out. Okay.
Okay, so maybe initially 1 or 2 intents and have questions in that.
Only one intent is good.
Yeah. Okay.
Beginning
Yeah.
is one intent. We don't want to make
Oh.
any complication here. One intent, pick 10 or 20 questions or even 5 questions, right? Make it work, right? You get a familiarity, right? You put in the cell, how it is behaving, right? Then we can tweak it, what to tweak, right? How to tweak. Then you will get idea. Okay, then go to NLU, then you have to write a story, right? These things need to be there. Okay.
Okay,
Now
got it.
what I will do is I'll go to GitHub, right? I'll just explain the flow. See, anybody wants to do, right? This is simple test one, I put it, right? They need to basically open a PyCharm, right? If nobody has a PyCharm, I will just put it PyCharm like this. You can open the Rasa framework, right? In the PyCharm, first you have to create a project. First, what you have to do is you just need to create a new project, right? Create any new project. Okay, virtual environment. Only restriction is you need to pick 3.10, 3.9, 3.8, 3.7. That's it. Only 4 versions it supports. Okay, don't go with the low or a higher. That's where it works. You click here, environment is one Python project is created, right? Once Python project is created, you just run a one command, right? Python. Okay. Okay, there is a one. We have to install pip3. Basically, if we go to the Rasa documentation, I will add the one-liner. Installation step is missing. Setting step. If you want to environment Python, we can copy. I'll just make it right away. I think, okay, like for example, if you are in the whatever the PyCharm or whichever ID, you just enable the environment, right? Then what you have to do is you just install Python 3, install Rasa. If you do this, it doesn't install all the component. My suggestion is install this one, right? I will add as a part of the GitHub. Once this is done, then what happens is all the components are there, right? It is basically you are installing a Rasa software. Once Rasa is there, what you have to do is you just click you type one command, Rasa init, right? What it does is it create a structure for you. You don't have to do anything, right? Once the structure is in place, what it does is it creates you the data, right? It by default you get all this greet, goodbye, all this, like pretty much, except at the bottom I just accept this. After 99 line I return, but otherwise everything is by default is available for you, right? This also happy path and all the stuff, right? Now let's come to the picture, right? In order to test for you locally, right? You just, whenever you do any changes, you write one command, Rasa train, right? What it does is it create a folder for you, Rasa train. I click on train. I didn't change anything, but I just want to show that, it creates one extra file for you. It takes few minutes. Once it is done, okay, if you see here, 20 year, month, day, right? Here it is created at the bottom, right? It's September 5th, 2023. That is a file it is created. Internally, what it does is it takes the last file and then it does the magic for us. Okay. Now I want to test this one, right? Just type Rasa shell. It takes few seconds. If you look here, it is loading the model in the memory. And then I also made available this one via web browser. There is another place, entities, sorry, endpoint. I made it uncommented this line so that if we want to connect from the web browser, you can connect it. Okay, that's the only difference. Now it's loading. It takes a little time, but otherwise we are almost there. Okay. Now how it works is, see, when you have, first step will be you have to write the intent, right? You give a basically create one intent, any name. Then you give all the examples. These examples for Rasa framework to understand or classify, right? If you give high, it understands that it is a great intent. Okay, then what it has to do? It goes to the story. Okay, in the story, what is the great intent? What is the response? Oh, this is a response, utter great. Then it will go to the domain model, domain ML. Okay, great intent, what I had to do, right? Here in the domain file, we had to just put all the intent. If you have entities, you have to do, there is another concept called a slots you have to do. For now, think like a response, right? Utter response. What you do, response is, how are you, right? That's it, those three things. I'll just say, hey, how are you, right? That is the response there. Now, I have one intent which does the weather, right? Check the weather. Currently, I'm a hard-coded. In order to do this, it has to go to the action. This is called actions. Every intent, right? If you want to get action, you have to build like a class and then you just return it. These are like standard. This is not my own invention. Only thing is I put a response as a hard-coded value, right? If I go to this intent, right? How is the weather? Can you tell me the weather? Tell me the weather, right? We are asking the questions. How do you ask the different questions, right? That's why I'm telling everybody to just to pick a 5 or 6 questions and then train your Rasa server to understand. You guys get a familiarity what it is, right? It is behaving correctly or not. Is it understanding, right? whatever the way you put the question might not be right, because the people might do mistakes, right? You get a familiarity. Just try with the 5, right? You get idea. Now, in order to get this one, I need to start the action server. The command for this is, I already put it here, rasa run actions. Okay, I'm running the action server. This, whatever the Python file is there, it runs on the action server. That's where they build it. Okay. Now, technically what happens here is this response has to go to the backend service and get the response back. That is our main goal, right? In this case, what happens is we are going to have a fast API URL, and then it calls and they get the response back. That is going to happen. For now, the starting point is we just want to get a familiarity, hard-coded value, get a response, and then do the job, right? Even for time being, you don't need to worry about even action server, right? For in order to work for my weather one, I need to do this. If I don't run this action server, it doesn't work because it will go there, right? Now, if I go to story, I have a user ask weather, right? Ask weather. It will go to utter ask weather. If I go to utter ask weather, it says that shoe, can you specify the weather? When you specify the weather in the story itself, get weather intent. It will go to, I'm telling what is my entity, and then it will go to the get action weather. If you go to domain action weather, it will go to the backend. This is what happening here. You see here, that is the flow. Okay, I'll go back here. I'll just say that, how is weather? I'll just say New York. It's just hard-coded value. Okay. If I say how is weather, just like a hard-coded value. Here the city is a entity which is picking from the here. You're getting? In our case, what happens is we are depending on the machine learning model. We give the we just ask the question and then it gets back the response. We need to see how important is the entity for us. Okay. And then now I just want to see if you guys have any questions. Because what I want is everybody, I want to see involved, right? Start doing minimum. Don't go like I want to do everything at one shot, right? Do small at a time, right? Just to create a project, pick 5 questions, train your rasa, get familiarity, right? Once you do it, right? If you can do 1 in 10, 5 or 10 questions, right? You get idea of how it is behaving, right? Then you can add 50 questions, right? Or 10 questions, 30 questions. It is easy for you. Okay. Any other questions? Yeah, go ahead.
Are we going to use rules stories, or are we going to use a combination between them?
Up to us, because we don't,
yes,
there is no standard questions, right? If we have a form or anything forcing, the beginning point will be just we use NLU, then we go with a story, then we define in the domain model, then we go to the action. That's a starting step. Once the people get familiarity, they think that they need a rule, they can pick it up. It is up to the requirement.
Okay. For the stories, we design them like I don't know, like just a regular conversation, right?
Yeah. You just say that, if you, for example, You look the sample, right? Let's take example, right? Story. Is it a happy path? Is it a sad path? Sad path too. You can define as many path you want, right? For now,
Okay.
simplicity, you can say that only one path you have, right? You just say that
Oh.
your intent name is immigration, right? Immigration,
Okay.
whatever, right? Immigration. Then you have action. Okay, then this action, what is the response? Go to domain model. Okay, this is my response. You have to do that flow completely.
Okay, okay. So tell me if I'm wrong. First, we start with designing the intent, then we make the response, and then we make the story, right?
Exact. No. Other way around.
Oh.
You write intent,
Yeah.
NLU, you define all the example questions, right?
Okay.
Then go to the story, you
Yeah.
define your steps, right? Your intent
Yeah,
and your action.
but the response and the action isn't designed yet.
No. You have to go next step, right? Once you define a story, then you
Uh-huh.
know that what is your name of the response, right? Then go to the domain model, add a intent here.
Uh-huh.
Then if you have any entities right here, then go
Okay.
to response. Does it
Okay.
going to be hard-coded value or you want to
Okay.
define action?
So in the text, we put the content we have in the data set, right?
Yeah, just try it out. Don't put all the things. Just that's why I was telling, right?
Yes.
Cut and copy doesn't take much time. The main
Okay.
important thing here is understanding, right? Understanding is very important. That's a main
Okay.
goal, because anybody can cut and copy, right? It is not a big deal. If you don't understand
Okay.
that, if you cut and copy, there is no use. You have to go with the
Mm.
flow, go with the small, like even one question, one intent. You can put your own, forget about immigration, right? Put your own something you
Okay. Okay. I
want
get
to
it.
develop, right? Get weather, whatever it is, right? Try it out. And then you, in this case, right, I will, in my example, it will not going to work. For example, here I gave the NLU, only city, London, Berlin, New York. It is not going to work. For example, if I give Delhi, it's not going to work. Not working, right? You need to build
Okay.
that model, right? You need to understand that, how what you call Rasa is going to work. You need to be smart to those questions, how we can able to give alternative way, right? Some people, like when you look example which give by Rasa, right? People can ask different way, hi, hello, hi, different, right? I don't know.
Yes.
All these things you have to get familiarity. The main intention
Yes.
is,
Yes.
right, I want everybody to get the speed so that people can contribute. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Hi Vijay.
Yeah,
So
go ahead.
after adding anything to the domain NLU, and so we have to use Rasa train to make a new model and then test it. Yeah.
No, you don't do. You just click Rasa train. It automatically trains for you and then keep the model here.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about that. There is
Okay.
the people confuse with this Rasa model versus a real model, right?
Yeah.
Real model is going to call from here. That is not part of our Rasa.
Okay, got it. So after, I mean, just by adding anything as an intent or domain, we have to write Rasa train, and then
Exactly.
Rasa automatically make a model, and then we're gonna use Rasa test.
You have to use Rasa shell, SHEL.
Shell, yeah, exactly. Okay.
That's it. And then for now, right, we don't want to go crazy, right? You can use a browser to test and all the things, right? Those are not a difficulty. Google it, right? You can find so many things. If you can't do the basic step, you do many things, not going to helpful anything. That's I'm strong believer, if you go with a small and then understand how it is working, right? Because people think that it is easy. No, it is not easy. It is a plain English. I'll give one example. I was doing how is the weather, right? Very simple, right? Ask weather. Then get me weather, right? It is London, I putting here. The one thing I was missing was I was not putting entity, right? City example, right? It was
Yeah.
not behaving correctly. Then, you know, when you do domain model, right? You do mistake, typo mistake, space, all the things, right? You go action. Then if you don't start the action server, you get error. You will see what is happening, right? I
Yeah.
want to have that thing to get a familiarity how it is working. End to end, if you get stuff, then you can crack anything. It is nothing like a difficult thing here, right? People who know English, who can speak English, they can write everything, right? We already have 1800 questions. We don't want to go crazy, right? We just pick uh, 20 questions for each person, right? If you have 5 persons, we can cover 100 questions. Let's test it out everything. Then we can pick another 20 questions for each person. Then we can move another 100 questions, right? We don't
Yes.
want to do 1800 and then, you know, nothing works, right? Doesn't make sense. We want to make sure that what we are targeting, let's make it work. Then we can go with a little bigger option, right? Then another the 5 people 20 questions, right? Then pick 100, then test it out. If it works, then we go 100, another 100, right? Then
Okay.
what happens is for anybody is working on this task is easy to manage, easy to understand. It is not like overburdening, right? Copying 1800, oh, I'm done, right? No. Oh, there is nothing is done, right? Nothing is going to work. Cut and copy, nothing works. I gave one example. I didn't specify the Delhi year. It's not working, right? You're getting, right?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is the where
I got
you training the model, right? You are basically training the rasa and then make it work. That is our main goal.
Sure.
I'm telling anybody like try to don't go crazy. Just to try something basic, right? Ask weather or ask a restaurant, find me the restaurant, right? Something hard-coded value, try it out, make it work, then go with the big. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anybody has any other questions? Okay. I'll stop sharing here. Okay.
I want to ask another question, please.